So some of the words that we're going to be talking about in chapter 1, Aguas Calientes, are arbors. Arbors are the structure creating a tunnel-like passageway of vines. So the arbor is the actual pieces of wood where the vines are able to grow up and around to form a passage. So this is the way they normally make these structures for grapes, and so that way the grapes can hang down from these green leaves on the top and on the sides. The next one is tendril. Tendril is the actual stem of the vine, and as you can see, it curls around and it wraps around the arbor and across the string or wires that they use on the top to it can make like a roof. And so the tendrils are what holds the vine. So the it's like almost like it has fingers to wrap around and hold itself. So an incline is a slope where the land is not flat, but it can look like a small hill. So if you're on the top, the incline is going down.
Aguascalientes, Mexico, 1924. Our land is alive, Esperanza, said Papa, taking her small hand as they walked through the gentle slopes of the vineyard. Leafy green vines draped the arbors, and the grapes were ready to drop. Esperanza was 6 years old and loved to walk with her papa through the winding rows, gazing up at him and watching his eyes dance with love for the land. This whole valley breathes and lives, he said, sweeping his arm toward the distant mountains that guarded them. It gives us the grapes, and then they welcome us. He gently touched a wild tendril that reached into the row, as if it had been waiting to shake his hand. He picked up a handful of earth and studied it. Did you know that when you lie down on the land, you can feel it breathe? That you can feel its heart beating? Papi, I want to feel it, she said. Come. And they walked to the end of the row where the incline of the land formed a grassy swell. Papa laid down on his stomach and looked up at her, patting the ground next to him. Esperanza smoothed her dress and knelt down. Then, like a caterpillar, she slowly inched flat next to him, their faces looking at each other. The warm sun pressed on one of Esperanza's cheeks, and the warm earth on the other. She giggled. Shh, he said. You can only feel the earth's heartbeat when you are still and quiet. She swallowed her laughter, and after a moment said, I can't hear it, papi. Aguántate tantito y la fruta caerá en tu mano, he said. Wait a little, he said. Wait a little, and the fruit will fall into your hand. You must be patient, Esperanza. She waited and lay silent, watching Papa's eyes. Then she felt it. Softly at first, a gentle thumping, then stronger, a resounding thud, thud, thud against her body. She could hear it too, the beat rushing into her ears. Shoomp, shoomp, shoomp. She stared at Papa, not wanting to say a word, not wanting to lose the sound, not wanting to forget the feel of the heart of the valley. She pressed closer to the ground until her body was breathing, and she pressed closer to the ground until her body was breathing with the earth's and with Papa's, the three hearts beating together. She smiled at Papa, not needing to talk, her eyes saying everything, and his smile answered hers, telling her that he knew she had felt it.
I want to go back and talk about chapter 1, Aguas Calientes. I want to talk about figurative language. If you remember, figurative language is a way an author can use words to help us readers make images in our mind. when the author, Pam, says he gently touched a wild tendril that reached into the rope as if it had been waiting to shake his hand. So she's using the figurative language of personification. She's giving a tendril the sense of a person, of a hand. So the spirally tendril, when Dad touched it, he almost looked like they were gonna shake hands, and so she's giving the tendril a sense of being a person. So the next figurative language is when the author is using a simile. She is comparing the way Esperanza is moving to get closer to her dad. She's For us to understand how she's moving on the floor to get closer to her dad, she's telling us that she's looking like a caterpillar. So then I can think in my mind, oh, I know, I've seen a caterpillar before. And then I can imagine in my mind how Esperanza is moving towards her dad to get closer. The author also adds to the story so that we can better understand the kind of relationships that the characters have, and so that we can also better understand and make connections. The dad says, aguántate tantito y la fruta caerá en tu mano, because she is being impatient. She's like, Dad, I want to hear the earth heartbeat. I can't hear it, puppy. And he says, wait a little while and the fruit will fall into your hands. Then he explains that this means you must be patient. So when you plant a seed, it doesn't grow all of a sudden. You have to wait a little bit, and before you know it, you give it some time and the fruit will grow, and then you'll be able to eat it. So he's comparing that, if you wait a little bit, he's comparing it to the time it takes for fruit to grow from a tree. It takes patience. She could finally hear it too, the beat rushing in her ears. Shoomp, shoomp, shoomp. So I want to ask you, do you think she was really hearing the earth's heartbeat? Does the earth have a heartbeat? Those are questions as when we are reading that we need to ask ourselves. What is she hearing? Then we as readers need to think, no, earth does not have a heartbeat. So what is she hearing? Maybe she's hearing her own heartbeat. And because she's so still and she can not move, she is actually just listening to the quietness, and is able to hear her own heartbeat.